reminder to use raise hand to ask your questions. We have Matt Benning here today. Question from, we'll start with Reed Wilkins. Reed, as soon as your microphone is unmuted, go ahead.
Thanks, Andre. Thanks for coming to do this. Matt, I actually wanted to ask you a question about the next time you're going to be on the ice on Saturday for the Colby Cave Memorial scrimmage, and you're all going to be wearing Colby's jersey. I hope you don't mind me asking just maybe a little bit of thought on what that's going to be like to be wearing his name and number, and just sort of reflections on him.
Sorry, guys, can you? I can't hear. You're gonna have to ask that again.
Okay, you hear me okay now, Matt?
Yeah.
My volume's okay? Okay. I was just hoping to talk to you about the scrimmage, the Colby Cave Memorial scrimmage on Saturday. You're all going to wear his name and number. Just maybe a look ahead to how you think that's going to feel to have his name and number on your back, and maybe some reflections on him as a man and as a teammate.
Yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to know Colby for a long time. We were drafted same Western League team the same year. He was first round pick, I was second round pick, and then I knew him in the Bruins organization, and then obviously here, especially here, and he'll be right there with us. So yeah, the game on Saturday will be special, and I think you know what, the proceeds going to his foundation, and his wife is working hard with that, and she's very involved, and I think she's still talking a lot with the Oilers' wives and staying involved that way. So it just kind of brings together the family piece of it, and we're there for them.
Next question, Tony Brar. Tony, as soon as your microphone's active, and go ahead.
Matt, hope you're well. Just a few days away from all the Western Conference teams making their way to Edmonton for the Hub City. Just want to get your thoughts on what the last 3 months have been like for you, and does it almost kind of feel surreal to see things starting to move into fruition and coming to reality?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, throughout a lot of it, there were so many unknowns, if we're playing, if we're not playing, with negotiations kind of opening up and then finalizing the CBA for the next little bit here. So I think it's an exciting time for us. Everyone's back, everyone's working hard. Kind of get into that mindset of playoff hockey again. And I think take this as an opportunity. It's such a unique time. Like when have we ever played at this time ever in our lives? Maybe spring hockey when we were 12 or 14 years old. And to do it with a team like this, I think it's special. And I mean, everyone will remember it.
Next question, Mark Spector. Mark, as soon as your microphone is active, go ahead.
Yeah, two questions, Matt. One, this is, I think, as deep a defense as the Oilers have had since you've been around. There's 7 NHL defensemen here for sure, and some guys behind them that can play. Maybe just tell us, a different feeling that gives you going into playoffs. And I'd like to ask you about recently having a baby and now going away for hopefully a long time into the bubble for your sake. What's that going to be like when you say goodbye on Sunday morning?
Yeah, I think I'll try to answer your first question. Yeah, I mean, our decor, there's been a lot of guys that have been here throughout the last 4 years, whether it's in Bakersfield and then up or with the team. And I think now we kind of have a more experienced decor that knows how to play in situations. And yeah, I think we're really deep. I think that the guys that are here are well deserving to be here. There's a lot of parts, moving parts, and you know what, throughout the playoffs, it's going to be a lot of hockey in a short period of time. So injuries are going to happen, and that's you need depth in your lineup, and even up front. I mean, we got he turned a month yesterday, so I've gotten to experience him for the first month, and yeah, I'm definitely sad leaving him and my wife, but I think that like I said earlier, it's a special time. It's a unique time to play hockey. Exciting time to play hockey. There's a ton of unknowns, and it's almost like an adventure for a lot of us. And I think most of us are excited for that opportunity.
Next question, Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Go ahead, Daniel.
Hi, Matt. Yeah, great minds, I guess. I had a similar question to Mark, and that's in regards to obviously the baby and heading into the bubble. Is there anything that you want to bring in to remind you of home, and what do you think communication is going to be like with you and your wife and your child? And also, I know you're 3 years older now, but how would you kind of compare this team to the 2017 team? Trying to make a run here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that with modern technology, it makes it a lot easier. FaceTime is there, and you get to experience that. I'll miss a lot of the day-to-day interactions and him growing and that sort of thing. But I mean, that's part of it. It'd be the same thing during the season. Sometimes we're gone for a week to 2 weeks, and I think my wife's in a good spot where she knows that this is special to me and to the team. So she's happy that it's going on. And that sort of thing. Sorry, what was your second question?
Daniel, I'll unmute you to remind the second question. Go ahead, Daniel.
Thanks. Yeah, sorry, there are two very different questions. So I just wanted to ask about the difference between the 2017 team and this one, and how you think they compare as you're trying to go on a run here.
Yeah, I mean, in 2017, it was my first year, and I mean, we had some young guys that were playing well. Like me and Darnell were kind of younger there on the D-core especially, and then I mean, we had Drake up front, and then we had a bunch of older, experienced guys, kind of later in their careers that could bring a lot of experience to the table for a young team. I think now we got the core of our group has played a good amount of time in the NHL and knows how to play. So I think that although we don't have a ton of playoff experience, we do know how to play in key situations, whether it's late in a game, at the end of the year, or that sort of thing. So I think we know how to play. I think guys are excited for this opportunity. We worked hard all year. So like I said,
about a week and a half now, and you pretty much started from a standing start. I'm just wondering, how much progress do you think you guys have been able to make as a team in that 10 days, and how would you compare yourselves to where you would be 10 games into a training camp in September compared to what you have to accomplish now?
Yeah, I think part of that is that it's, as a professional athlete, you got to put yourself in a good situation with. I mean, although we weren't allowed to go to gyms, a lot of guys adapted and kind of made their own gyms. And then once we were able to skate, no matter what part you are in the world, we kind of started skating. And I think everyone looks really good out there. I thought the first 3-4 skates of this camp, we'll call it, was very high intensity. I think better pace than training camp would be. So I think guys kind of understand that what's on the line and that sort of thing, and they come to camp prepared. It's and that's kind of the way it's been for the last 10-15 years. Is you come to camp almost like to tune up rather than to get in shape. So I think the guys did a great job. I think we're really focused in this locker room, and like I said, excited.
I'll take one final question from Derek Van Diest. Derek, as soon as your microphone's ready, go ahead.
Yeah, Matt, I just wanted to get your opinion on the Seattle unveiled their team logo and their colors and their name today. Just wonder if you had a chance to see it, and what was your first opinion of the logo and the team for Seattle joining the league?
Yeah, I saw their kind of promotional video there, which is, I think it was a really good video. And I like their logo. I think it's a great hockey town with their Western League team being there, and they did well for a lot of years. A lot of Canadians are kind of in and around that area, and it's a really exciting town and city. It's I think it's a great thing for the NHL. And yeah, I like the name. I like the logo. I think it just brings some excitement to the league as a whole new team, similar to what Vegas did a few years ago, and they're doing well. So I think it's a great addition to the NHL.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Matt. And we'll have Kailer Yamamoto here momentarily. Thank you. We have Kailer Yamamoto now available for questions. So use the raise hand function to ask your questions. Derek, I believe you have a question. Just making sure. And now we're good to go. So Derek, go ahead and ask a question when your audio is going.
Yep. Hey, Kailer, just wanted to ask you about, being a Washington kid and I want to ask you about your thoughts on Seattle and the franchise. They announced today that the team name and the logo. First off, I just want to ask your opinion on the logo and the team name. And then what does it mean for, that area of the country to have a National Hockey League team and for the young kids that'll be able to kind of look up to NHLers from that state?
So I actually saw the logo this morning. I think it's actually a really cool logo. Got the S for Seattle and the Kraken. So I thought that was really cool. And, for the community of Seattle, to have an NHL team, I think it's going to be awesome. A lot of kids, in that area are going to look up to those guys and, hopefully push themselves to hopefully get there one day. So I think it's huge for the community.
Next question will be Tony Brar. Tony, as soon as your microphone is ready, go ahead.
Kailer, last week when Leon Draisaitl was nominated for the Ted Lindsay Award, he was very complimentary to the impact that you had. One, what does that mean for you to kind of get that praise on an NHL conference call that really had nothing to do with you? And then two, how did you approach getting the call up to Edmonton, and how have you felt you fared so far?
Starting off with Drat, anytime him, stuff like that. So, really looking forward to it. And, coming up to Lairs, I was just trying to play my game, worked on a lot of stuff down there, and at the end of the day, just trying to work as hard as I can throughout the whole time I was up here, make plays that I can make, don't try to do anything too crazy, that I wouldn't do down in the AHL or anywhere else. So, kind of just those things.
Next question is from Reed Wilkins. Go ahead, Reed.
Hi, Kailer. You're going to play a scrimmage on Saturday wearing Colby Cave's name and number on your back. Can you explain what that's going to mean to you and maybe tell us a couple of things that made him a special person and a special person in your life?
Yeah, it's going to be a huge honor. He's deeply missed. When I was in Bakersfield, I was fortunate enough to actually get to know him, fairly well. He would come over to our house, kind of just hang out with me, Clowder, Bush, and Benson. So we got to know him there, him and Emily, and he's one of the best guys I've ever met. Always has a smile on his face, never a dull moment. And just him, he would bring over Emily and his dog, and he would just be ripping around all over the house. Kobe would always be getting mad at him, but he's one of the best people. I don't even know how to say it. Best person, that I've ever met. I'm very sad, that he's gone. He was taken away from us way too short, and just praying for their family and everything.
And a question from Tony Brar. Tony, as soon as your microphone is active, you can go ahead.
Either again last week on social media, the NHL put out a poll on which player NHL fans were most excited to see, and a lot of people voted for you. What are you looking forward to in your first taste of Stanley Cup playoffs, and what are some of the stories that you've heard in the past?
One thing I'm looking forward to is just the tempo. The guys who have played in the NHL before, tell me how regular season's one thing, but playoffs is a whole different animal. So I'm really looking forward to that, and getting into my first playoffs and seeing how it goes.
Next question from Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Go ahead, Daniel.
Hey, Kailer, I just want to go outside the box a little bit with you here. You came back to Edmonton sporting a new hairdo, and what went into that? And also, there's been a lot of guys, Riley Sheahan's beard, Zach Cassian, obviously, coming here with different looks. Who's got the best kind of new playoff look in your mind?
I think Smitty might take the cake on that one. He's got long hair, and he's got a little trim right here, so it looks nice. But I definitely think I'd go with Smitty.
Thank you very much. Quite a question to finish up on. Thank you very much to Kailer and to members of the media, but we'll have Head Coach Dave Tippett shortly. Thank you. Welcome back. We have head coach Dave Tippett. Again, a reminder to ask your questions, use the raise hand function. First question we have is from Reed Wilkins. Reed, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Hi, Dave. Little different today because I'm not going to ask you about the Oilers. Small picture question. What do you think of the Seattle team name and the jersey? And larger picture question from your experience when you were with that franchise, why you think it's going to work and be a good spot for an NHL team? Thanks.
First, I think it's going to be an incredible franchise. There's a great passion for it. There's what I didn't realize is how the community, there's a ton of hockey in the community, not just the junior teams, but I think there's over 150 adult hockey teams, like the beer league teams, the men's and women's teams there. So there's a great passion for hockey there. It was interesting to see where they ended up. I was involved in a lot of those discussions about the branding and with that organization for a long time. So I didn't know which way it was going to go. And I knew that was one of the names that they were looking at. I love the logo. The jerseys are a great looking jersey. So I'm happy for the people in Seattle. They've got a brand. Now they can continue to push that franchise ahead. It's going to be a great franchise. It's very well run, great ownership, and there's great passion in the fan base there already. So I think it'll be a very successful franchise, and really happy for all the people involved in it that they get to push it along like they are.
Next question, Rob Tichkowski. Rob, as soon as your microphone's active, you can ask your question. Go ahead.
Hi, Dave. Normally when you see players showing up for training camp, they've already been skating for several weeks. They're ready to go. This time they're kind of almost starting from a dead stop. I'm wondering, 10 days in, if you can kind of rate the progress that you've seen from then to now and compare it to where maybe they would be at this stage of a normal training camp.
Well, the thing about it is most of them they didn't probably skate as much as they normally do, but they were all skating. Like they had all been on the ice quite a bit before they got to camp. We talked a lot with the training staff and our fitness staff to make sure we didn't want to bombard them early to make sure that we got up and kind of going. We wanted to make sure we were each day. I think the guys have handled it very well, and knock on wood, we've been pretty healthy. The guys are competing hard in practice, and we've tried to go 3 hard days and then give them a day off, and then 3 hard days again, and they seem to have handled it very well. So we've we got another week to go here. We've got some work to do here yet, but today was a real good work day for us. We had a bit of a skate at the end, so I think they're feeling good about where they're at, but they know there's still some growth that we have to do before we start game 1.
Next question will be Mark Spector. Mark, go ahead.
Dave, the goaltending in the NHL is shifting now towards sort of a 50-50 thing, like what you guys had this year.
Yeah.
More and more teams are doing that. But in the playoffs, we still always go with one guy and ride him. With this particular playoffs, there's back-to-back games. There's like every second night. Have we finally hit a point where we're going to see coaches, maybe yourself, using 2 guys on a regular basis throughout a playoff run?
Well, it's always a read and react. I mean, you got, when you have a hot goalie, most coaches would say they were going to go with the hot goalie. But, we've been in a situation all year where both our guys have played well. Our team has confidence in both guys. So it's, I wish I could tell you how it's going to go, but a lot of times you just end up with a feel, who you think is going to give you the best chance to win that night, or there might be, injury situation, tweaks here or there that you're concerned about. So there's a number of different things that come into it, but ultimately, I think, I said it last week, I think both our guys will play. Can I say that 100%? No, I can't say that 100% because I've seen times when guys get on a roll and away they go. But we have confidence in both our guys, and it's really a read and react. It's your gut feel on that day, talking to Schwartzy about where they think they're at in practice, and just whatever you think gives your team the best chance to win that night, that's the way we'll go.
Next question from John Matiz. Sorry if I got the pronunciation incorrect there. Go ahead, John.
That was close enough. Hey, Dave, I'm curious. I got 2 questions here. First, what's your expectation for the type of hockey in the qualifying round across the league? Is it going to mimic what we see every October, looser, higher scoring, or maybe it'll mimic normal playoffs, tighter, lower scoring? And then my second question would be, how are you handling pre-scouting? Is there such a thing as over-preparing for an opponent since you've had so much runway here?
Yeah, there is. I've shown at full max or full strength, because it doesn't matter what the other team does if you're not going to play to your capabilities. So you understand what your opponents are going to do, and you understand where you are, and there's things in a game that you have to be aware of. But I'm a big believer that our team has to be prepared, and that's our main focus. That being said, you always know what your opposition, what their strengths, weaknesses, you go right through them. Special teams obviously play a big part of that. As far as the hockey, I think there'll be, if you could have a hybrid, I think there will be a little bit of, what do you call it, early sloppiness in games, but I also think there'll be a great emphasis put on, detail, doing things right, making sure you're not beating yourself. So, you're in the playoffs, if you beat yourself, you're going to regret it. So there's a fine line between trying to play loose or trying to get up to speed, and making sure you're not giving games away. So, we feel comfortable with our preparation. We're going to try to get up and going as hard as we can and as close to playoff style as we can. Everybody recognizes it's a short ramp to that, but every team, I think, will be gearing towards making sure they're trying to play their best at that time, and going out and have the ability to win games, and mistakes lose you games. So that'll be the focus, I'm sure, of all 24 teams.
Next question from Daniel Nugent-Bowman. Daniel, go ahead.
Hi, Dave. Caleb Jones obviously got a late start to camp here. How have you found that he's fared in kind of getting back up to speed? And do you anticipate him kind of working into that bottom pair with either Russell or Benning?
Yeah, I think he's coming along. I think he's still got a ways to go. You have to recognize that he was off the ice for about 15 or 16 days, and really did nothing for those, very little for those 15 or 16 days. So he's slowly getting back up to speed. We've in these scrimmages, I think, have been good for him. He's putting some extra work in, so we'll see where he gets to. So we're confident in the depth of our defense. We want to make sure that everybody's playing up to capabilities, and when we get into game one, we'll play the players that we think gives us the best chance to be successful.
Next question for Derek Van Diest. Derek, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Dave. I just want to go back to the Seattle franchise. I just want to ask you about when you were a senior advisor there, did you have a specific role, or were you involved in everything from building that team from the bottom up? And also, was it a tough decision to come and coach when you were part of something like Seattle? Was it a tough decision to leave that franchise and come to Edmonton?
Well, it was a really unique opportunity, and I said that there's a couple things that the organization is going to be a great organization. Todd Lewicki is. I didn't know Todd well, but got to know him a little bit before I started, and they're going to run a great organization there. And they brought me in there was a lot of decisions that were being made, whether it was the big building, the practice facility, just stuff where they needed a hockey opinion on, and also to start laying the groundwork of building the hockey operations department, and doing a study on what Vegas did, went through everything that, their build up to it, what was right, what was, they had a very successful first season. What did they do right? Maybe is there things that they could have done differently? Full study on teams about, the number of people in hockey operations, number of scouts each team had, how teams were designed. So a full diagnostic of what you wanted to see in a hockey operations. And then the last part of it was involved in trying to figure out who the best general manager, who the best person to run the hockey operations was. So that was I was involved in that role right till I left. So great experience. I enjoy all aspects of the game, from playing to coaching. And then when the opportunity came to coach the Oilers, I looked at it as this is the team on the rise and has a chance to become a real top team and do something special. And to work with Kenny Holland and the ownership here, it was a hard decision, but a decision that I'm grateful I made. I've enjoyed my time in Edmonton, and they're going to have a great franchise in Seattle. So happy where I am, but also happy for Seattle that they're moving along.
And then we'll take one final question from Tony Farrar. Tony, as soon as your microphone's active, you can go ahead.
Dave, the scrimmage on Saturday will be honoring former teammate Colby Cave. Just how much are you guys looking forward to that memorial game? And also, how has the team responded in terms of keeping Colby at the forefront and really coming in unison and doing something together all for Colby?
I think Colby's always in everybody's thoughts. You know, he was a great teammate, a good friend to everybody. We just thought this game, we expected everything that Colby brought to our team. And like I say, they want to pay their respects. Also, there's the foundation that has been put in place in Colby's name is the players care about that. They want to see that help people that Colby would have wanted to help. And so everything that kind of has gone behind it is a way to kick that off. And our players are, it's a very meaningful game for them. You know, Colby, like I say, was a good teammate, or a great teammate, great friend to a lot of these guys. And I think they want to really pay their respects with everybody wearing Colby's number.
Thank you very much, Dave, and thank you to members of the media. We'll be sending out files with audio and video this afternoon. Thank you.